Welcome back. Our next guest is on a mission to help you experience Milwaukee's social scene and make your mark on our city. So how do we reach that goal now that the pandemic has changed the way we all connect? Corry Joe Biddle is the executive director of Fuel Milwaukee, and she's here with more information on that and their weekly Race Bridge conversations. Hi, Corry.
Hi.
Great to see you this morning. Tell us about Fuel Milwaukee for people who've never heard of it before.
Sure. Fuel Milwaukee has been around for 19 years. We started in 2001. Now I've started to reflect on that. We've done so much good work, mostly in person. But the focus of the organization is really about making sure that the professionals that live and work in Milwaukee, some of them are from here, natives to Milwaukee, and others are transplants that come here for a job. We want to make sure that they feel connected and a part of the community, and that they can find each other and make friends, that they can find all the great places in Milwaukee and really take advantage of everything that makes Milwaukee a distinct place in the world. So we've traditionally done that, mostly with young professionals, but really with professionals of all ages through in-person events. So we've undergone quite a shift, quite a pivot in this time, but still really doing that hard work of bringing people together in a way that helps them connect and make meaningful relationships.
No doubt the pandemic has changed things for a lot of people. So how are you connecting and forming meaningful relationships and accomplishing your mission during this time?
Well, thankfully we have so much technology that admittedly, I was Zoom averse. I didn't know how to use it before this time with all of these platforms and ways to connect, teleconnect, and we just didn't do that. It just wasn't the way that it was done. In our minds, that you network in person, face to face, in a space, with a cocktail, and that's just what it looked like. But we realized that we really had to shift pretty quickly and started to use the tools that are at our disposal and have been really for years. I know I'm not the only one that's like an expert now after only a few months of using it, after years of having never used it. But the technology has really been awesome and has enabled us to keep bringing people together in the same space. And they can't talk in person, but they can go into the chat room and share comments with each other, or they can come on screen and at least see each other's faces. So it really has worked to help our members stay connected.
Everybody's adapting, clearly. These Race Bridge conversations are weekly. Tell us how those conversations started and the purpose of them.
We started off with quarantine doing 2 webinars per week. We were doing Tuesdays and Thursdays, really around topics related to COVID. And then we transitioned more into, how are people working from home and leaderships and tumultuous times and all of these topics. So it was a natural transition once the unjust killing of George Floyd just sort of took this international hold on people's attention, that we had a couple of conversations around the experience of racism and how our white members were responding to what was happening in the world and what it feels like to be a Black man. We decided to take a really personal approach because we knew our members were hurting. So we thought, okay, let's stop with all the news and statistics and let's really talk to people about what they're feeling in this moment. And there was something about that really resonated with people. People who aren't even Fuel members. We have people from other cities that are logging in to these conversations, I think, because the stories and the personal experience of what does this feel like to me, regardless of race. All of us are experiencing this, and Race Bridge has been our opportunity to go into everybody's experience and share it with a large group of people. So it's been really interesting and exciting.
I think you make so many good points there, and I think that it's easy for us to argue different points of the conversation depending on our experience and our background. But you mentioned that people are hurting, and at the end of the day, I think that's what needs to be validated and discussed. And so it leads me to wonder how these conversations then have been productive. What have you seen that makes you think that they're having an impact?
Yeah, so we took the approach of, my assumption was that if people were logging into the Race Bridge conversations, they were there because they had some level of awareness that there's inequality in the world. So we don't really debate that topic. We don't use the platform as a forum for people to debate or argue it. That's just the liberty that I took, and people have just accepted it. People have varying degrees of understanding of what that inequity looks like, what it feels like to people, how it shows up in the workplace, how it shows up in the world, all these new terms, systematic racism. What is that? What does it really look like? So a lot of our conversations are really about education. Here's the research, here's what's out there. And then we bring on a panel of experts for every conversation that really illuminates the conversation with facts, evidence, stories. So it's about the enrichment of the person that is watching the webinar. And we encourage folks to interact with the panelists, to participate in the conversation by, utilizing the tools in whatever platform we're using. So we heavily encourage folks to use the chat. We, heavily program the discussions with folks' actual questions real time. So, excuse me, to the extent that we can, we make it feel like a real in-person event, but it's really about people having access to information and being able to create and form their own opinions about what inequality is and how they can change it.
Such great points that you make. So good to see you, Corry. Thanks for taking time to share it with us.
Thank you so much. This was an honor. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We appreciate it. Make sure to check out Fuel Milwaukee's Race Bridge webinar series. It's every week, like we said, so it's Thursdays. And to register, you can go to fuelmilwaukee.org.